When searching for courses, in case no results will be found, we're not seeing any messages that tell us that there are no results, so I suggest that we add some kind of helper text which will indicate that the search results are empty. Let's go back to the component which contains this search form, and right here when we are rendering course cards in a loop, there is one directive that we can use called for else, which is also a loop, but when the array is not going to contain any elements, its length will be empty. We can choose to render alternate content by using another empty directive, and so in here we can place any content that will be rendered instead if courses array will be empty, and right here we can put some helper text such as no results found. And along with that, we can also place a link which will let us reset search form so we can get back to the initial state on the courses page. So by clicking this link, we'll be redirected to the same page. But the address bar is not going to contain any search params, meaning that the search state will be reset. I will add some classes to this link. We'll make text semi-bold, and color of the text will be violet with a shade of 600. And let's go ahead and test this form out. I'm going to input some text which will lead to no results. As you can see, this time we're seeing this helper text as well as the link to reset this form. And additionally, we're seeing the search parameter in the address bar, but the moment I'm going to click reset link, the search params will be removed and will be redirected to the same page. Alright, next one, I would like to move this search form to the left sidebar and put it somewhere in here. Let's get back to the editor and move this course search component inside of this div element right in front of the filter component. And that is looking good, but there is not enough space for this form yet. So let's assign w1 force class to increase the width of this sidebar, and the second div should take all available space, and this available space will correspond to 3/4 of the total width of its parent container. And actually we're gonna move the button to submit the form in another place, so let's open up search blade PHP component, and in here we're going to leave only input field itself, and the rest of the code can be removed. But before that, I'm going to wrap these two components, search and filter, within the form, since there will be one general form to filter courses. This form we're going to submit to the same address, but in addition to that, this form is going to add some query parameters to the address. I'm going to increase the distance between search and filter components by simply turning this form element into a flexible container where elements will flow vertically, and the distance will be 6 units between all child elements. So let's remove all commented code from the search blade PHP component and test this form out. I'm going to input some text, and let's verify that courses are searchable. As you can see, search results are changing. But now we'll have to press enter to submit this form, so I'm going to add a couple of buttons to simplify the process of submitting and resetting this filter form. To do that, I'm going to create div element right under filter component, where I'm gonna put a couple of buttons. First one will be reset button that will basically reload the current page to reset filters, and the second button will be the search button to submit this filter form. Alright, let's work on styles for those buttons. I'm going to use whitespace no wrap class in order to prevent text from wrapping in this button. Then let's round corners of this button. Horizontal paddings will be 4 units and vertical ones will be 2 units. Background color of this button will be gray with a shade of 100. On hover, the background color will change to gray with a shade of 200. And then just to make this button to occupy full available space within its parent container, I'm going to assign class grow, and let's also center the text in this button by using text center class. Almost the same classes we can use for another button. Let's copy this whole list of classes and apply them to the second button. but here we're going to change background color. Instead of using gray, we're gonna use violet with a shade of 500. The text will be white, and when hovering over this button, the background color will change on violet with a shade of 600. And we're almost there. Sizes of these two buttons are different, so let's get back to the editor, and I'm going to use inline block class on the first button, since this is the link, and links by default are inline elements. And just to indicate that the search button is also clickable, I'm going to apply cursor pointer class. So now all we have to do to expand those buttons is basically make parent container flexible by using flex class. And let's also specify distance between those two buttons, let's say 2 units. And that is looking great now. And by the way, since now parent container is a flexible one, we can get rid of that inline block class that we have applied previously to the first button, since all children of flexible containers are going to behave the way we expect to, without applying any additional display properties. And finally, let's open up icon.blade.php component. This component is responsible for rendering all icons in the application. And just because the previous search form button was using icon with a name of magnifying glass, now that we no longer use this icon anywhere, I'm simply going to remove this block. As always, link to the source code of this project will be in the video description.